Let's have a book talk. Greetings, my name is Nina. Welcome back to the Metal Book Tavern. So I have decided randomly to have a new section on this channel. A new playlist, so to speak. So I have Whitesworth reading episodes on my channel where I talk about various books. They're usually much more researched. In this section, however, I just want to talk randomly about several books that I read and liked. It's a random book talk, so I'm simply going to be sharing my thoughts. And in this video, I want to talk about The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. The Inheritance Games is a trilogy, and this is the first one, and I want to talk about this book. So the difference between Whitesworth reading and book talk, not to be confused with book talk, is that Whitesworth reading episodes are much more researched and written prior to filming, whereas in book talks, I randomly talk about random books. So let's talk about The Inheritance Games. So this is the book that I simply found in a store. I entered the store, I noticed the cover, I liked it, then I read the annotation, and I was like, yeah, I'm interested in reading this, at least the first one. It sounds really fun. And it was quite cheap too, so I bought it. And a few months later, in January 2024, I read it, and the book is very addictive. You just cannot put it down. This is a definition of a page turner. Page turner is a book that it's so addictive you cannot put the book down until you have finished it. In 2023, I made a huge mistake of buying the Neuromancer trilogy by William Gibson. I mean the entire trilogy. I didn't like the first one. I really forced myself to read it, so I gave the whole trilogy away. And I thought I shouldn't buy the Inheritance Games trilogy, and it was a second mistake because I enjoyed the Inheritance Games so much. Now I want to read books 2 and 3. So the first one is the Inheritance Games, the second one is the Hawthorne Legacy, and the third one is the Final Gambit. So this book is about, and is written from the perspective of a teenage girl named Avery Grams. Life doesn't seem to be great for Avery. Well, she lost her mom, her legal guardian is her sister, however she doesn't get along with her sister's boyfriend, and she's basically forced to live in her car. However, Avery is quite ambitious, and she tries to determine her future. I will discuss probably Avery's determination a little bit later. And one day everything changes when a billionaire named Tobias Hawthorne dies and leaves everything to her. So Tobias has a large family, he has children and grandchildren. He doesn't completely disinherit them, however he still leaves most of his fortune to Avery. Nobody knows why. Everyone is surprised. Avery herself is surprised. Avery moves into the Hawthorne house because the condition of getting the inheritance is that she has to live in the mansion, the Hawthorne mansion, for 1 year. And she goes there, and this is the beginning of her journey. She goes on to uncover mysteries surrounding the Hawthorne family. And she gains enemies because of her inheritance. I think the best part about this book is that the chapters are really short. They're just a few pages long. There are a lot of chapters and they're short, and this book is quite easy to read. And this is one of the reasons that I love the book. In each chapter, something is revealed about the Hawthorne family or the situation in general, or people around them. And this is why it's very hard to put this book down. Now let's discuss Avery. Right now, usually I'm neutral to the protagonists in the young adult books, regardless of the genre. However, I really liked Avery in this one. Basically, when she finds herself as an heiress to the fortune, she considers giving it up. She also considers writing a story about how she got the inheritance and writing a book about it and selling it in order to pay for college. You know, when I read that part, when I read about it, I realized a huge difference between modern protagonists in young adult books and the young adult protagonists of the past. Around 10 years ago, when I was more or less the target audience for young adult, well, I was a little bit older, but still. Back in those days, the protagonists were way too naive, they didn't understand what was going on, they were a little bit stupid, and so on. But Avery, on the other hand, she grabs the opportunities that she has and does make up her mind, and I find it really cool. And I think that it's a very good example for a younger audience to actually think instead of following emotions, instead of being a little bit naive and so on. I liked it. One of the best aspects of the book to me was the Hawthorne brothers. So this billionaire has 4 grandsons. All of them have different fathers. The dynamics between said brothers is just so amazing. The book highlights the bond between them, and I can tell that these brothers are extremely charismatic and really interesting, especially when they're together, or at least they're even 2 brothers together. Gonna confess that this is one of the reasons I really want to read the Hawthorne Legacy, because the brothers are just so cool. Also, I want to talk about the boyfriends in the book. They are complete sellouts. Yes, while reading the book, I was kinda surprised at how the boyfriends, not the Hawthorne brothers, were really complete sellouts. Avery's sister Libby has the boyfriend Drake. Another girl that has a boyfriend is Avery's online friend Maxine. Both of their boyfriends rush to sell the information out once Avery gets her inheritance. But at least Drake, her sister's boyfriend, doesn't know her, at least a little. But Maxine's boyfriend doesn't really know Avery, but still goes to the press to talk about Avery. And the character I hated the most in this book is Libby. In the past, I would have hated Drake. Sure, he's still annoying, I still dislike him. However, I really hated Libby because she's such a pushover character and she couldn't get away from Drake that easily, and it backfires. Backfires a lot. So this book isn't a mystery novel in a traditional sense of this word, so there's no investigation of a murder or something. However, the Hawthorne mansion does hold on its own secrets, and Avery goes on to uncover them. One of the brothers in this book, Grayson, doesn't really trust Avery. Grayson is one of those cliche characters who are like, I will always side with my family over you. Get over it. Guess what happens later? I think you probably guessed. So basically, nearly everyone Avery interacts in the book is connected to the Hawthorne family in some way. Maybe it's an ex, maybe they work for the Hawthorne family, maybe it's a family friend, you name it. Everyone has a story about the Hawthorne family. So each story is a piece of the puzzle, and by the end the puzzle is solved. However, one piece isn't completely solved. Well, the book doesn't really state what really happened to one of the characters. And this is one of the reasons I want to read the Hawthorne Legacy. I mistrusted the wrong trilogy. So I bought the Neuromancer one by one, didn't like the first one, didn't even finish it and got rid of the trilogy. And then I mistrusted the Inheritance games. I thought I wouldn't like it, and what a mistake. Excited to read the second one. And that's all. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed my random book talk. Oh, by the way, just look. The back of this book does really say TikTok sensation. To be honest, I didn't even know that this was a TikTok sensation until after I bought the book. See you next time. Goodbye.